And now WXXA presents another edition of Upstate Lifestyles, your guided tour of the people and places that make our region an exciting place to live. Upstate Lifestyles is brought to you by Welborn and Purdy Realty. With over 30 years experience in the Capital District and 12 offices, Welborn and Purdy has an office near you.
The birth of a child is the culmination of a lot of hopes, dreams, aspirations, and ambitions of the parents. The surprise of something being not quite right with their child is hard. After all, no one ever told them that they would be parents of a disabled child. It's hard enough to be a good parent. How do you help your child with special needs to grow to their fullest?
Sean's papa, he's at work.
Cereal?
Yeah, Papa eats cereal. He eats corn flakes.
Kate Nolan and her son Sean live in Fort Edward. 3 years ago, when he was born in Massachusetts, Sean was diagnosed as having cerebral palsy.
Well, to me, cerebral palsy is there's brain tissue that is destroyed either at birth or before birth. And with Sean, the brain tissue that was destroyed caused him to be a spastic quadriplegic. When you think of quadriplegic, you think that the person is paralyzed. Well, with Sean, he's not paralyzed. He's just, how they consider quadriplegic with him is that all four extensions of his body are involved. Mainly the right ones are the majority of being involved.
Good stuff. Are you waving hello? Hi, Mr. Rogers.
Bye-bye.
Where's he going?
The older he gets, the further behind he gets. And the reason he is going to the school is because Sean is physically delayed and mentally delayed, too, because of the physical handicap.
The school Kate is talking about is the Center for the Developmentally Disabled in Glens Falls. Sean goes there 5 days a week for therapy and learning. Marilyn Cohen is the executive director of the center.
You don't deal with just a visible disability, a child that does not walk or does not talk. You can zero in on those. We define them with an evaluation, but there's far more in the life of a developmentally disabled infant and child and family than just some physical therapy and a pat on the head, you're a nice kid.
Through therapy at the center, Sean has begun to communicate verbally, something he was not able to do before. This recent breakthrough has opened the world to Sean.
That's within the last month and a half, 2 months. He's picked up all, he knows his numbers from 1 through 10. He knows almost all of his alphabet letters, not necessarily in order, but on sight he can recognize them.
4, 3, 4, 5.
5 piggy toes.
10.
Yeah, 10 in all. He got 5 on each foot.
My husband's in the United States Navy, and we've been bouncing around the country for almost 3 years now, and every time we move to a different location, it takes anywhere from 6 months to a year to get Sean into programming. And we decided that it was not beneficial to Sean to keep bouncing around, so we moved to this area. My husband is from this area. He's from South Glens Falls. And through family and friends of the family, they really recommended the school so highly that when we went up to find out about it and Sean went for his evaluation, we had to stay in this area. So in one way, it was good, and in one way, it's bad. Sean gained to school but sort of lost to Daddy because Daddy can only get home like twice a month, and it's really difficult on us that way.
When someone gives birth to a baby after waiting for 9 months and finds that they have a serious problem, or if someone is watching their little one grow and they're not sitting when they should, or they're not playing with toys, you're frightened. You don't know what it is. You need to have someone to relate to.
How's Sean been doing in school with his cast? He really hasn't been having any problems with him. His feet haven't been getting red. They've really been working out well for him. How's he been doing at home? Have you seen any differences in what he's doing?
A lot of differences. He'll be playing on the couch and he'll pull his feet up to his nose and tell you pee-yo, which is a nice extension of his leg. Different ways that he sits on the floor.
I think what we're trying to do is change the quality of what he does, the way he's able to move
that he's able to do things in an easier way for him. I think if he hadn't received therapy, he would be a lot tighter, his muscles would be shortened, and he wouldn't be able to make certain movements because of those muscles being so tight.
A handicapped child is a child first, and a child with a handicap second, so you go at it as you go after any preschool child or any nursery school child, and do what they like to do and adapt. Therefore, you can get accomplished a great deal.
Speech therapy has really made a difference in Sean's life. Although there is nothing physically wrong with his vocal cords, Sean was unable to speak.
Sean, you have to look at me. Can you sign? Kitty cat? Kitty cat? Kitty cat. Very good signing and good talking. What's the kitty cat say? Meow. Look at me. Meow. Kitty cat. Meow. Can you sign again? Kitty cat.
It's the first 5-6 years of life, even earlier than that, where you make your most progress. Get them early, define what the needs are, get them integrated into their home and their community, get a treatment program going, and what you've done is save society expense in later years, and also help that individual do the old terminology of maximize their potential.
At 20 years old, if Sean didn't have the program, I'm sure he would be able to sit up by himself, but I'm sure he would be confined to a wheelchair. I was not that knowledgeable in different ways of positioning Sean or being able to work his muscles so that he would become more independent of himself.
The parent's a big part of the program. You don't serve a developmentally disabled child alone. You've got to look at them in the context of where they live, where they go to school, and what the parents' problems are. So you're looking at the total thing.
Sean is too young to know that he is different, but when he starts to realize that not everyone has cerebral palsy, he won't feel uncomfortable about it. Going to the center at such a young age has given Sean a chance that will make a real difference. The center is an important part of Sean's heroic struggle for an everyday life.
In prior years, disabled children were pushed aside, segregated, held apart, and society takes a long time to move, but it's gradually changing. They're integrating into public school. They're integrating out into the community. So when Sean does reach adulthood, he'll be comfortable wherever he is, whether it's out with normal people or wherever he goes. He will not have been brought up and restricted into that limited thinking, I am handicapped, I am less, I cannot do.
Boom, boom, rah, rah, Sean. Boom, boom, rah, rah, Sean. It's happy and gay and he thinks all day and he's always gonna stay that way. Yeah!
Until the sudden, tragic death of their daughter 3 years ago, Tony and Diane Famiano had never thought of seeking help in a support group.
When we were leaving Ellis, when he was pronounced dead, the minister came up to us and stuck this piece of paper in our pocket and said there was a group for parents, you know, who'd lost a child. We both didn't know what to expect. We've never had to join a support group for any reason ever, and to be so fresh after, you know, our daughter died, and then to not know what to expect. It was scary for us, but we walked in and we felt immediately. We felt we just felt, you could feel the love and you could feel the caring.
The Famianos feel fortunate in finding a support group to help them cope with their grief. Their group, the Compassionate Friends of Albany, is just one of hundreds of self-help support groups in the Capital District Upstate area.
Whether it's an illness, a handicap, a bereavement, you know, there's somebody else out there that's going through the same thing, and you can share with them. I think there's a need more now than there was 20 years ago. It's probably the times right now that there's more a need for a sharing, an emotional sharing. You had the sense of not being alone. You know, there's somebody else that's got the same situation that you've got.
Support groups work, but finding a group wasn't easy until the Schenectady Self-Help Clearinghouse was established. Under the direction of Michael Lawler, The clearinghouse publishes a directory of support groups and operates a hotline to provide referrals and information on nearly 100 groups in the area.
People who would like to find out information about support groups here in Schenectady County can call InfoLine. People can call a direct number, ask for information about any support group that's available here in the community. We rely a great deal at this organization on volunteers, and the people that answer our phone calls are all volunteers. People that come here to the agency and volunteer are very compassionate people, willing to help individuals out who have a problem. And that seems to fit in very nicely with the concept of self-help. It's people who want to help each other to get through their particular situation so that they can get on with their life.
As an organization, they're listed here as a 12-step program for people with emotional problems, so I think that will meet your needs. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Good afternoon, Schenectady County InfoLine. May I help you?
Pat Desmond knows firsthand what support groups are all about. She is a member of the Capital District Narcolepsy Network.
Well, I liked the opportunity to help other people, and I thought answering the telephones might be a nice thing to do. I enjoy talking on the phone.
What we try and do for our volunteers is they have the directory right there at their fingertips, which gives them the basic information about each of the support groups that we've identified. In addition to that, we have a file on every group with newsletters and other background information that that organization would send us. We have a number of anonymous groups. There's Alcoholics Anonymous, Chemicals Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, Parents of Murdered Children, Mothers Without Custody, Parents Without Partners, Compulsive Spenders and Debtors, the New Voice Club, which is a group for laryngectomy patients. We have Safe Place, which is for survivors of suicide.
Mike Lawler's job is to keep the clearinghouse alive. Funding is needed to publish the directory, the monthly newsletter, and to keep the InfoLine phones operating. The clearinghouse survives on financial help from foundations, businesses, and community organizations.
And on Thursdays, it's at the Trinity Lutheran Church in Schenectady, and again on Wednesday at Capital District Psychiatric Center on New Scotland Avenue in Albany. Now, would any of those be appropriate?
InfoLine is free and confidential for anyone who calls. You may call regardless of where you live. The trained volunteers help you locate a clearinghouse or support group in your community, even if you don't live in Schenectady. When you call 374-2244, someone answers who cares. There is a group for almost any kind of problem. These support groups work. Just ask the Famianos.
I feel that it saved our lives. I believe that. It saved our marriage. It saved our sanity, I think. And when you're explaining some problem you're having, or, you know, they shake their head yes, and that's all it takes sometimes is someone just to give you a nod, and you don't feel so alone anymore.
Upstate Lifestyles has been brought to you by Welborn and Purdy Realty, with over 30 years' experience in the Capital District and 12 offices. Welborn and Purdy has an office near you.